It took a while for me to get that camera working. Okay. Hello, Aisha. Good to see you.
Hi.
Okay. How was your weekend? You had a nice weekend?
It's no difference.
Okay, that's good. Well, is that hopefully that's no different to a good weekend. Hopefully so.
Oh, yeah, you have lots of good answer.
Yeah, that's the yeah. It's sometimes because and by the way, next weekend it's going to be Dragon Boats Festival. I mean, I guess
Exactly.
yeah. God, what a shame! Is everybody going to be home?
I think everybody should be home. It's safer.
Could they watch? Do you think anybody will be doing Dragon Boat races? Do you think? And
I
then,
don't think the Dragon Ball races is still on. I think it's all be canceled, but a lot of people like traveling from Taipei to their hometown. So a lot of people they criticize them like, oh, they should just refund the high-speed rail tickets because they probably bring the virus back to their hometown.
yeah, that's a good question. That because is it how serious? I mean, it's mostly in Taipei or New Taipei or Taipei City or New Taipei City. Is that where the epicenter or the concentration of the cases are? Is that where it is?
Oh yeah, because New Taipei City is got the most cases.
Taipei City, right? Most
New
cases.
Taipei.
Yeah, how serious? Do you know what the latest figures are? Are they? Is it still increasing? Is it so?
It's like I think it's kind of the same around like 200 to 300 daily per day.
Gosh, yeah.
It's still, and I think lots of confirmed cases they just didn't realize they got COVID. So I think the real figures should be higher than this number.
Yeah, Aisha, that's a very good point about the. I'm just going to share my screen. Asymptomatic. I'm assuming asymptomatic. Sorry, asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic.
This is scary, as you said,
Yeah.
as you mentioned. No symptoms, nothing. You feel okay, but you've got it, and it lasts for 2 weeks, I think. Is it right, or a week? You can have asymptomatic. You can have the symptoms, but not show it. And that's the scary thing, and you could spread it like a super spreader. We have these, yeah, there are cases when people have accidentally become super spreaders, but that's a good question, Aisha, that this weekend, is it a 3-day holiday? A 3-day break, isn't it? The Dragon Boats Festival? Is it usually it's a long weekend, isn't it?
I think it really depends. But I'm not sure. I haven't checked because for me every day is holiday.
Yes,
every day is off because I'm still unemployed.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Every day seems to merge together. I get what you're saying. Yes, it's been an issue over here for a long time. People working from home, and the weekend sort of merges with the week, and so there is that boundary which becomes very difficult, blurry. And it is a 3-day. As far as I saw on the calendar, are you sure it's I believe it's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I believe that the races used to go through the 3 days and then have the final on the Monday. I don't know. It depends on what the tournament is or but yeah, 3-day break. So that's a good question. Will people travel? I mean, is there a travel ban or is there restrictions, not ban? Is there a restriction on travel in Taiwan, or can people travel all over the country still?
Actually, there's no travel ban. So a lot of people still they criticize government should be tougher on the restriction because people still have freedom. What government do is reduce the high-speed rail tickets. So the number of the tickets is decreased to maybe only 20% compared to usual, but they sold out. The tickets are sold out.
Even if the tickets, are you saying, have gone up in price or
Oh, no. The
gone
price
down?
is still the
Right.
same. They just released
Okay.
the last
Oh,
ticket.
oh, right. Oh, I see what you mean. So the reservations have been reduced, but still supply and demand, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. People still want to go home, but it's not. It's like government is not encouraging people to go their hometown. They say it's better just stay at home, especially from Taipei or New Taipei City. It's definitely it's not a good idea to travel to South Taiwan because like right now South Taiwan is comparatively safer.
right. Yes, it's safer in the south, isn't it? The cases are more concentrated in the north, but that's a very good issue, isn't it? If somebody's got an asymptomatic condition and they travel this weekend, I wonder. I guess the government must be thinking about this. That maybe it's wise for everyone just to stay home, and basically like a curfew for people. Do you know curfew?
Yeah. I don't think our government will really practice the curfew because
No.
it's very difficult decision to companies. So it's quite ridiculous because like today our government just announced we do have different levels of the like danger level of the COVID. The highest is 4 level. So the fourth, fourth means the totally lockdown. So we are on the stage 3, the third level. We are not totally locked down, but the schools are all suspended. So students not allowed to go to school. The company is just company. They still ask their employees to work. Some of them. So if the government announced a totally lockdown, I think a lot of company they will really complain.
Yes.
Yeah, they will really complain a lot. Because for example, TSMC they have a high demand. Like as I know, they still have to go to work. There is not such a work from home. Probably maybe just like 1 or 2 days, but they still have to go to the company.
I think a lot of their requirements happens inside the company because of the IP protection, isn't it? The intellectual property. So I think they're very, very sensitive in regards to the IP, and so possibly they don't want anyone accessing their intranet from outside. I always call it the Great Wall of TSMC instead of the Great Wall of China. It's more like the Great Wall, the Great Firewall, I should say, of TSMC, where everything. And I think they do that, don't they? They cover up any USB or internet. I think it's the internet, not the USB, the internet connection on your laptop or any mobile device on your notebook. That's covered. So when you walk in, they have to protect, you have to cover that over. And that must remain on until you come out. Very, very strict anyway, but yes, that's interesting that. But anyway, tomorrow there's going to be a tradition. I think tomorrow, that's right, Greg's going to be looking at Dragon Boat Festival. Anyway, however, right. Just a few changes. Unfortunately, Addison has had to drop out for a break because she's I think a lot of things happening in her life at the moment, and also with I think also recovering from the COVID as well. She's still lingering a bit, so we'll give her a break. So but Andrew's come back in. He used to teach with us from Canada, so he is back in on Thursday. So yeah, we've done a couple of changes. Actually, Stephanie is up next with the COVID vaccine. What does it do to you? So I think she's going to be looking forward to that. Yeah, just a general few changes there. But anyway, this is, we've done this before. This is presentations, Aisha. This is something that might be of interest. But what we tend to do is we go through different aspects, different elements of the building blocks of presentations. And what we try to end up aiming for is to get an awareness of how Steve Jobs did his presentation. So we do go through some general PowerPoint presentation arrangements, and then we vary it towards even how Steve Jobs actually does his presentation as well. It's quite interesting, actually. I feel that's quite an experience to actually go through what makes a good presentation, because everybody is so different. Intonations as well. I mean, these are things that are hard enough for a native English speaker, let alone for yourself, you know, for anyone else. So it's something that, yeah, we'll be looking through over the next few weeks. I'm just curious, and this is actually what we do look at is the main video and some discussion points from that. And then we go into some exercises. What we tend to do is, this is actually from the Cambridge B2B Center, but what we tend to do is I've taken some from that. And what we do is we look at some dialogue. We just focus on the dialogue, because obviously here we're trying to practice talking more than the detail. So they tend to do a little bit more of the case studies. And again, we've got two self-introductions, how to get started, ways in which to give a self-introduction. And then there's, those are other exercises, so two self-introductions, ways in which we can have an idea. So through a template idea, you can build your own sort of presentation from that. Yeah, just so I thought maybe we'll just kick off with a couple of few pointers, discussions. Presentations, I think, Aisha, have you ever had to do a PowerPoint presentation before, or do you often do presentations in the past?
Actually, not many chances, because as a flight attendant, I don't need to do a presentation at all. So I'm not very good at it.
Interesting though, Aisha. I mean, you know, when you talk about flight attendant, wonder what sort of transferable skills do you think a flight attendant would have to do a presentation? So transferable skills, right? Something that's transferable. So something that you get from from the experience of being a flight attendant, what sort of things might be in your favor from that experience to present? Say you had to present something on a PowerPoint, what sort of skills do you think you might have learned from being a flight attendant that might be useful for being a presenter?
I think is how it's communicated with the listeners.
Yeah,
so maybe it's very clear, no misunderstanding.
I think you've got good awareness, isn't it? You know, you've got good with the experience you've got, and it's not easy. You've got a very, I mean, I would think that you're well practiced with an awareness of how to deliver a message or how you communicate, and you've got that experience with different people. Maybe you've got more empathy about different people, understanding of their behavior maybe. So there's, from that perspective, you're maybe more prepped, ready. I mean, certainly you'd be more prepped, more prepared compared to somebody that works in IT who is just sitting in front of a computer all day. You know, they probably are not very practiced, are they, with the delivery of communication, because they don't get a chance to practice. So that is one thing, isn't it? That's an awareness that's very useful. I think presentation generally, you know, maybe awareness of I guess, like, I mean, I'm not saying this is very important, but it's also nice to present yourself well, isn't it? When you're in front of an audience, your style, and maybe that also helps with giving a professional image, possibly, especially if you're representing a company. So these are also elements too, isn't it, Aisha? So I think also the ability to smile. I've got to say, you're very good with that. You know, you're able to, even if you're having a, is that something a flight attendants have to practice? You're having it, you're feeling awful inside, you're having a terrible day, but you still put a smile on your face.
Exactly. We are pretending. We need to pretend.
You have to
So,
pretend. I was
yeah,
gonna say, like,
we are so appreciate when we wear a mask, we don't
Hmm.
smile.
okay, so
We don't
it's not like,
smile.
you're not like the Joker. I mean, just, I mean, I'm not sounding very bit serious, but I always having to, no, just kidding, but I'm just having to say, like, haven't always put a smile on the face, you know, so that, but no, I just, yeah, I'm gonna say how you've got to keep that smile regardless of how you feel. It's, and that itself is a really great asset as well. So you could cover your feelings or your nerves. So maybe that way, you know, you're practiced as well. So that gives also extra power to your ability to present as well. So these are probably great things that you already have. I wonder, what have you, is there any presentation you've heard that really inspired you, or do you think you can recall? Have you sort of seen a presentation or speech before that that quite inspired you? So I think Obama was good, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
he's a natural, I would say. Yeah, just say Barack Obama comes across as somebody just very natural, how he seems to enjoy being on stage. It just seems that natural sort of character, isn't he? He's got that natural ability. Yeah, something that, you know, I just, what's your thoughts, Aisha? So a speaker that you've been inspired by, or is there something that, one of the best presentations you've heard? Think of anyone?
Well, I attended one speech by a disability person. He's from
Right.
Australia, I think. I
Oh.
forgot his name. He's quite famous. He doesn't have the arms and legs. He only had the center body. Do you know this guy?
I know the guy. Yeah, gosh, and he's written a book.
Or I forgot his name. He was invited to Taiwan, and
This is the guy. Yeah, no arms, no leg. This
oh yeah, exactly him. Yeah.
what's his name? Hey, gosh, shame on me. Yeah, that's right. Very inspiring, isn't it? It's Nick
Oh, Nick. Yeah, Nick.
Vujicic. Yeah, Vujicic. I mean, gosh, yeah. What's it? Okay, and maybe it's an obvious question, but what's inspires you about him?
Okay, so actually, he really good at speaking. I would say it's like he show he used his like, even he doesn't have the arms or legs. He used his body to show his story and tell all the stories very like an adventure, and I feel very touched.
Gosh, yes.
He is very charming. He very inspiring, very charming, and you feel like you really have a connection with the audience.
Very, yeah. You've got to say he's brave. I think, yeah. I think something that really hit me was he's brave. Yeah, you know, you're thinking, gosh, you think you're having a hard day. Look what he's going through and how he embraces it. He embraces. I think that's something he embraces life's challenges. I think that's just so amazing and such a, in a very positive way. I guess he's got no choice, has he? I suppose. Are you sure he has to just embrace life? I guess you've got to. Life with no limits. Might have been that book, isn't it? How to Live Life, a Ridiculously Good Life. Hey, you know, I appreciate you brought that up, Aisha. Especially on a Monday today. So yeah, this, you know, all of a sudden I feel different already, you know, from a moment ago to when you brought his idea of him into this discussion. You know, he's thinking, oh, what a long afternoon. No, it's okay. I could go for a walk anytime. Yes, what this guy has to do. Wow. So, does he have a family now? Is that right? Is that his family?
Yeah, he has family. I think he has child.
Right. Can't be 4, right? I guess I don't know. Yeah,
oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, I think, yeah, he has 4 children. Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing. Wow. Wow. So now he's got.
Because when I listened his speech, he just got married.
Oh, right.
Like, yeah, it's like 8 years ago.
That is amazing. They'll be busy. I gotta say, just on a medical point of view, do you think that they could have fixed him by now, or been able to attach? I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit flippant on this, but do you think, I would have thought by now that medical technology and the advancements of technology, that they would have been able to attach arms and legs to a body, you know, in a kind of, I'm sorry, but maybe in an engineering way, you know, just attach the joints, but then it's the nerves, isn't it? How to connect everything together. I don't know. Do you think we'll ever have that in the future, Aisha? Do you think we'll ever have the ability for someone like Nick to be able to have their arms and legs attached to them? You know,
you mean just like a robot?
Not robot, but I was just thinking like a donor, a human donor. So sadly, human donor who has sadly passed away, but they're young, you know, maybe it's their torso is their body, torso has unfortunately, or they've had a heart attack or something, but they're, you know, their arms and legs could be donated, and I guess it's blood, I guess it's all these things, but if they find a match, do you think there will be in the future? I mean, I guess, you know, one would think that by now, you'd think that, you know, some sort of body, I guess he's probably happy like this, but I just thought maybe, yeah, would they be able to attach arms to him yet? Or not yet, but obviously not, but do you think in the future they'll be able to do this?
Well, it's like a science fiction, but I think probably yes, maybe another like 10 or 20 years.
Maybe so. Maybe
probably.
Stem cell. That might be it. Stem cell technology. I know that's I know, going off tangent here, just the Superman guy, the original Superman actor, Superman actor Reeve, his name will come up. This guy, Christopher Reeve, God bless him. He was Superman, the famous, well, this is maybe a long time ago, one of the original movie Superman, Christopher Reeve, very famous actor at the time, but tragically he fell off a horse. He was horse riding, and unfortunately he became a paraplegic, is it? Paraplegic means that he was broken by the neck. He broke his neck. And so they tried to look at stem cell technology to bring him back to life. Or to try to connect the stem cell. The stem cell technology was not available at the time. Sadly, he passed away. But yeah, I think in the future, you know, it's kind of ironic, that one, because he acted, it was his last movie. He actually acted as a paraplegic in a movie, and by coincidence, soon after, he actually did become one. Yeah.
No, I
so-
knew about it.
Christopher Reeve. Yeah, let's Christopher Reeve. Yeah, he's Superman. Everyone knows him as Superman. Christopher Reeve, and then horse riding. Yeah, he loved horse riding. But one day, yeah, sadly he fell off. Gosh, that's put me off any consideration of a horse ride. Just bad luck. Oh, rare situation. Fell off, broke his neck, and so became a paraplegic. But he was actually in a movie, I think, paraplegic, yeah. I think if I'll just write down movie just before we continue. Okay, anyway, I know he did act. Yes, it was I think in a movie, ironically, he actually, I do you know what, I'm going to have to go back on that. I really have to say, maybe he was acting, maybe he was a paraplegic at the time. I think the coincidence is just, however, anyway, and that's paraplegic. That's yeah, that's unfortunate about the situation, what happened to him. Yeah, but anyway, the stem cell technology, donor. Right. Okay. Anyway, let's move back to, because I do have a tendency to go off tangent. Right. Okay. Let's have a quick look at other presentation. I'll give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So we'll have a look at this video, which is why, what, how, and what's next. It's just part of the preparation of a presentation of what to think about, but then we'll have a look at some self-introductions as well. And then Aisha, maybe we can just further discuss some aspects of it as well. So let's have a quick look at this, just a very brief, how to prepare for a presentation. Here we go.
Preparing your presentation. The first place to start in thinking about becoming an effective and efficient presenter is your preparation. It's worth remembering that prior planning prevents poor performance. So how do you prepare? Well, here's what I do. I take out a blank piece of paper, whether I'm doing a 5-minute presentation or a 5-hour presentation. And what I do is I write down on the left-hand side, why, what, how, what's next. So the why. Why is your audience listening to you? Why are you listening to me right now? Well, I'm guessing because you have a presentation coming up, or you do presentations and you want to get better. So that's the why. The what? What are you going to be talking about? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about preparation. The how are the skills of how.
Okay, we're just getting Chloe coming in. Just before we continue, Aisha, is he speaking very fast? Is that quite fast, do you think?
I think it's okay because I just want to see the subtitle.
Right, okay. And just to say, do you know what nationality do you think he might be? Can you guess?
Maybe I have to listen more. I can tell.
Okay, yeah, I can tell, I could sort of sense, I think I know what nationality. I don't think he's American though, no? Okay, that's my hint. Okay, Chloe, good to see you.
Hello.
Welcome. Okay, we were just about to play the video. We thought I'll do this again. We'll go back to the beginning. So this is obviously we're starting a series of preparation. I think mentioned before, Chloe, isn't it, that so what we aim to do is get to Steve Jobs at the end, an awareness of how he creates an experience when it comes to a presentation. We just go through there's about 12 classes in this course where we see different ways in which to present, and there's dialogue that goes with it as well. So at least that way we can patched together. And I have also an example of a presentation. We will then look at that at the very end. So an actual full script of a 5-minute presentation. So hopefully get a bigger picture as to ideas to present. But one thing that I was spoken to Aisha about is, as a flight attendant, you know, you bring, Aisha was mentioning that presentation, understanding, communication to the audience, delivery, and maybe even also how to, look lively and all these things as well to make it interesting as well. So these are some of the general transferable skills that already exist from working in this field. So very good. Now what I'm going to do, just bring it down to 0.75. Let's just have a look at the brief. So this is just the basic overview of preparing a presentation, how, what, why, and what's next. And then we're going to have a look at, just have a look at a few discussion points, and then we're going to have a look at 2 dialogues on how to give a self-introduction if you're doing a presentation. So let's just go through this. Here we go.
Preparing your presentation. The first place to start in thinking about becoming an effective and efficient presenter is your preparation. It's worth remembering that prior planning prevents poor performance. So how do you prepare? Well, here's what I do. I take out a blank piece of paper, whether I'm doing a 5-minute presentation or a 5-hour presentation. And what I do is I write down on the left-hand side, why, what, how, what's next. So the why. Why is your audience listening to you? Why are you listening to me right now? Well, I'm guessing because you have a presentation coming up, or you do presentations and you want to get better. So that's the why. The what? What are you going to be talking about? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about preparation. The how are the skills of how you apply whatever it is that you're sharing with the audience. And the how here, of course, is the why, what, how, what's next formula. The what's next is their call to action. What will the audience do after you finish speaking for 5 minutes or for an hour? What's the call to action? Are they going to think about something? Are they going to take action? Are they going to email you back? Are they going to buy your product? So thinking about your topic, you need to have a why for the audience to engage them. Why are they listening to you? What are you going to talk to them about? How is that going to impact them? What skills are they going to learn, or what information do they need to process? And finally, what's next? What do they do at the end of the presentation?
Great, great.
Monkey Mike, Monkey Do.
Monkey do for some reason. Okay, I have no idea what that. Right, and by the way, Aisha, any guess what nationality he might be? You think? Not that it matters. I'm just wondering if.
He sounds like a little bit like Italian. I'm not sure. I just
No,
Italian.
European. Okay.
European.
European. So maybe, yeah, that's an interesting point of view. It sounds European. Chloe, any suggestions? Do you know which nationality he might be? Which country he may come from? Just wondered if you could tell his accent.
I don't know.
No, it's fine. Okay. Australian. I'm pretty sure he's an Australian.
Oh, Australian. Okay.
I think so. I could sort of tell there is a certain, I don't know how to say that. But I guess you both know not American, right? I guess you could probably tell he's definitely not got the American tone there. I could sense something, but I'm trying to know how to explain that. Just a natural feeling that the Australian accent is there. Yeah, maybe it's because England, Australia, we're always having goes at each other. We like to throw banter at each other. Right. Okay. So these are just a summary of some of the things that he said. So I think that we know that. What's next is about what they will do after the presentation. These are just some of the things that we'll be going through in the next few weeks in regards to some of the preparation required, understanding why they're listening to you, you know, how you're going to present, or what the what's and how what they're going to learn from this, from your presentation. But also some of the other things about how you deliver that. Some people do this with a question or maybe a story at the beginning to capture the interest. And when is a good time for this to happen? They're often not, information is often heard at the beginning and at the end. Sometimes in the middle, not always necessarily understood or followed that much. Q&A at the end as well. Then what's next? Yeah, call to action. Call to action is a phrase we often use. Have you heard that call to action before? Call to action. So call to action. Chloe, would you like to have an idea what that means?
To tell you need to do now, and
Yes, yeah.
don't be afraid.
Yeah, it's call to action is to take action. So this is your call to action to do something, taking away, so from the presentation, your call to do something, to go ahead, and that's something there. So call to action, that's great. The little checklist on planning. So yeah, and again, I think that's another transferable skill from the experience as a flight attendant. You know about preparation. Gosh, yeah. Just on that, Aisha, just on that, when you're flying, is that something that, how many hours of preparation, isn't it? There's quite a lot for every flight. How long is the prep? I guess there's quite a while before you go on the plane. I guess it's all right up to the customer arrives.
Yeah, sure. We have to conduct a briefing. So we have to report to the company like 1 hour ahead, and they conduct a briefing around like 20 minutes, and which including the safety questions and any special things about this flight, like for example, any special mail, like any medical equipment request, or like special passengers, like our member, very like a passenger who complain a lot. We definitely have to be aware of it.
Okay.
So we should, yeah.
It's customer service. Oh gosh, hey, I'll tell you what, Chloe, you used to work in a hotel, and customer service. How beneficial it would be to know which client stays at the hotel and which ones are complain a lot. Yes. Have you ever heard of? Oh gosh, just on the side point, it's actually on the BBC tonight. Actually, Faulty Towers. Faulty Towers. It's a British comedy. It's an old British comedy, by the way. John Cleese, very funny. I know it's very old, is this, but it's still a classic. But how he has to deal with very difficult customers, and you could I don't know, you could tell, but this lady, do you think she's an easy customer to deal with?
No.
Always complaining anyway, but and how he has to just, yeah, Manuel, he's a waiter, and so but doesn't speak English well, from Spain, and so poor guy, he often gets trouble, but then the maid, she covers up a lot of problems. So it's a very dysfunctional hotel, but very hilarious. Faulty Towers, but I know it's very old now, so it's a bit. They could do with a modern version of it. I think would be good. Right. Okay then. Let's just move on to having a look at first of all. This is taken from Cambridge again, but it's something that's quite useful Objectives. So in this case, we've got Sarah and Jason. Jason is in the audience and Sarah is giving a presentation. This is to describe your professional background, to define the main points of your presentation, to express polite disagreement. That's a good one, isn't it? Polite disagreement, to express polite disagreement. Have you ever had to experience that, Aisha, with any situation where you've had to express, you know, like inside, but oh yes, having to express in a polite way, you're politely disagree, yes? Or with
Yeah,
respect, I have to disagree. Is that something how would you express polite disagreement?
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, it's happening most of the time, but I'm the most, I was the most junior one, even though I don't know, I know it's not right. Well, I disagree with the manager or the supervisor. I have to agree. I have to say, okay, sure, certainly. But I know what's right. Well, I know they're annoying, but I still have to do what they say, just following.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, it's and Chloe, how about you? Have you had to politely disagree, express polite disagreements? So, yeah.
If I talk with my friends, not in the office, I will say, thank you for your advice, and I know why you. Thank you for giving me the good suggestion, but I think I have another suggestion. You can consider it.
Yep, that's an interesting way. Thank them, but then say, yep, I'll take that on board. We have certain ways, don't we, of expressing sort of appreciation, or even in that case of Faulty Towers, where the lady is just complaining all the time. It's funny that one. Anyway, it just, yeah, there was one situation she was complaining about the view out the window. And so, well, I can't see the oceans. Well, because it was far back. They're like, well, maybe you should consider going closer to the ocean. Anyway, but it was just exaggerating. Eventually, when he was frustrated, it was. But yeah, how you present, how you politely disagree is very important as well. Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, we sometimes say, with all due respect, I have to. Sometimes we sometimes say that to keep the polite manner. Let's have a read through this together. I'll just load this up a bit more so that's easier to follow. Okay, maybe that's right. Okay, so Aisha, if you can, we will just, so you're doing a presentation. So you're just going to give a little introduction of yourself, and then, so there's a couple of examples. So if you're Sarah, Aisha, and Jason, sorry, it's a little bit, yeah, we probably need to change this into different colors, but Jason here, you're asking a question from the audience. So that's you, Chloe, okay? So let's try this out.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Sarah Dunn, and I have worked as a career planning consultant for over 10 years. In my presentation today, I'm going to give you some tips on creating an effective resume. Are there any questions before I begin?
Excuse me, will you be discussing cover letters as well as resumes?
Today, I'm going to focus mainly on resumes. There will be time for questions following the presentation. However, we could talk briefly about cover letter at that point.
Does that mean cover letters don't matter when you apply for a job?
I wouldn't say that. It's important to have a well-written cover letter so that you may make a good first impression. But you won't be called for an interview unless you have a strong resume that highlights your skills, qualifications, and experience.
I see. Thank you.
Right, yes, I think it's, I wouldn't have, yeah, that very key point, isn't it? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's important to have a well-written cover letter so that you will make a good first impression. Yeah, very important first impressions. But you won't be called for an interview unless you have a strong resume that highlights your skills, qualifications, and experience. Do you think it's quite difficult to write a resume? Do you think it's quite a challenge? You know, it's you know, say for you, Aisha, I take it you've got a resume now. Do you do one in English and Chinese, or do you just do it in Chinese?
I only have the English one.
Oh, right. Oh, interesting. Okay. Is it why is that? Does that highlight? Does that show? Yeah. Does that? I mean, is that something that provides a stronger first impression?
I would say because my target is basically on a foreign company, and my previous job is a foreign company as well. They don't accept the Chinese resume, but you know there's like a website you can like upload the basic resume. So I do have like the website written in Chinese, but my personal resume is only in English. Unless they ask me to have another resume in Chinese, then I have to create another one.
Yeah, I suppose that's interesting though. Yeah, I suppose there's different ways. And how about you, Chloe? Is that something that's, do you have both English and Chinese resumes, or are you?
I wrote it when I was working in hotel, but I'm not update them.
I haven't updated the rare. Yeah, they do catch up to you, don't they? It's a living document that has to be updated regularly. I think there's no one final answer, but I mean, I keep updating mine every time there's so many different, well, it's interesting, Aisha, yeah, there are different websites out there that could give you that, or even suggestions as well. But do you have to change your resume per different job, or is it like if it's a different sector, do you feel you need to change your resume? How about you, Aisha? Do you feel that that's something when you're applying for a CV for a different job, is that something that you need to tweak it, change it, tweak it? Have you heard that term before? Tweak.
You mean just like modify a little bit?
Yes, that's right. Tweak.
The resume basically I won't change much, but the cover letter I will modify. Depends on the industry and the position are.
Yeah, fine adjustments. Yeah, I think that's it. You've got the base of your resume, but sometimes certain things need to be highlighted better, isn't it? To highlight particularly your skills, qualifications, and experience relevant to the position you're aiming for. Easy said than done. Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, then. So we've got just a few more minutes left. Going to run over to another self-introduction. So yeah, so this is again to introduce yourself to a mixed group, to indicate the subject of a talk, to emphasize the relevance of your subject. So you notice that here, for those of you who don't know me, and you could use your name, the Assistant Director of Appraise Management. Appraise, just a name it's used, but appraise is to praise something, to celebrate your appraisal, or congratulations. So I praise you. It's kind of that sort of name, to appraise. I'm here today to demonstrate how to use our new evaluation system. Okay, this new system will help you and your staff identify strengths and weaknesses, set clear goals of development, and measure improvements. Of particular interest to those of you specifically created for you, give you a more meaningful way to access employee performance. Let's have a read that through. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. So Chloe, if you could read the first paragraph, and then Aisha, you can read the middle, and then Chloe, then we'll do it the other way around. So here we go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted that so many of you could make it on such short notice. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chloe, the Assistant Director of Appraise Management.
Right, Aisha. Okay.
I'm here today to demonstrate how to use our new evaluation system. We developed this to provide you with a more powerful and accurate set of tools to appraise, supervise, and assess the performance of the employees you manage. This new system will help you and your staff identify strengths and weakness, set clear goals for development, and measure improvement.
Good. Great. Okay, Chloe.
This talk will be of particular interest to those of you who are leading project teams. The new system includes a section that was specifically created for you. Project team leadership is a special management challenge, and the new system will give you a more meaningful way to assess employee performance in a project team context.
Well done. Great, guys. Good. Okay, Aisha, shall we just go through it again? This time, yeah, Aisha, if you do the first paragraph, and then
Okay.
Chloe, the middle paragraph. Here we go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted that so many of you could make it on such short notice. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Aisha, the Assistant Director of Appraise Management.
I'm here today to demonstrate how to use our new evaluation system. We developed this to provide you with a more powerful and accurate set of tools to appraise, supervise, and assess the performance of the employees you manage. This new system will help you and your staff in identify strengths and weaknesses, set clear goals for development, and measure improvement.
Great. Good. Okay. Yes.
This talk will be of particular interest to those of you who are leading project teams. The new system includes a section that was specifically created for you. Project team leadership is a special management challenge, and the new system will give you a more meaningful way to assess employee performance in a project team context.
Well done. Great effort and good intonation. Well done there, Aisha. That was good. And Chloe as well. You know, it's just specifically. That's a tricky one. Just Aisha, one more time. Specifically.
But specifically.
Yes, Chloe. Specifically.
Specifically.
Yes, specifically. Yeah, that's the spec. Okay. Chloe, accurate.
Accurate.
Another tricky one. It's, you know, English can be a mix of French and things as well, but accurate. Well done. Yes, Aisha, accurate.
Accurate.
Yes, accurate. Great. Accurate. Yes, I think so. I think the and yeah, I think that's right. So appraise, supervise, and assess performance of the employees you manage. Good. Yes, that's yeah, it was very good. I hope that gives sort of an idea of the type of introduction that comes with it. So those are just some, and what happens is there's more exercises that will be added every week onto there, so you can then just review again. So as we go through, you can still pick out that dialogue and do some practice. So we'll probably build up the different sectors of a presentation to make you feel more aware of the different types of phrases that we use. So there'll be questions and so I think on such short notice, I think that's the one there, isn't it? That was quite interesting. We often use, Chloe, is that good morning, everyone. I'm delighted that so many of you could make it on such short notice. I think sometimes just one moment. Okay, so on such short notice, Chloe, sometimes people do that in a company. They're in a rush to get there. Sometimes on I can't say such short notice. But yeah, Chloe, we've gone through this before. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, right, great. So yeah, just to say, how do you feel? We'll just wrap up a couple of questions, maybe. Yeah, how do you feel when you give a presentation, Chloe? What's your feeling? You've done a presentation before, right? So is that college?
In college.
In college. How did you feel?
I always practice many times before I have a presentation in front of audience.
I think that thing is a good preparation. Something will go wrong, something will happen, and always have some sort of plan B usually as well. But I think it makes you feel more confident if you've got a goal that you know that the audience can take away from the presentation, and that you know that they're investing their time to listen to you, but you know you've got a goal at the end that you can take away, and that way you know that the time is being valued and be valued by them as well. So hopefully this will be something that all part of the preparation. Very good. Okay then. So that's basically how the first class goes. We've got others coming up. So that will be, I think, next week. Phrases, we'll be looking at different phrases next week. The 40 most popular types of phrases and how to link slides together as well. So these are the things that we'll be looking for, the building blocks of that, along with some dialogue that goes with it as well. So these are some things that we'll be looking at for next week. I think that's it to start off with. So yeah, and I think Stephanie's up next in regards to the nature, which will be on vaccination. So what happens to the body when you take a vaccination? And by the way, tomorrow it's Greg will be looking at Dragon Boat Day. So I'm just wondering if you're having any zongzas at the moment. Have you? I was going to ask you, Aisha, have you had a zongzi yet? Have you?
I got to have it. My dad will send to me.
Okay, yes. Right, gotta look out for that. And have you, Chloe, zongzas?
I already ate last week.
My first year, I don't know if I told you this, I probably have, but my first year when I was in Taiwan, I visited a friend in Chiayi. He's a good mate of mine from university, but never told me. I didn't know this, but you can only eat, how many zongzas are you allowed to eat a day? Is it safe? 2 or 3 is probably enough for one day?
Yes, not too much.
Nobody told me that. I had 8. No one told me that. So I had breakfast, lunch, or brunch. Yeah, I had one for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and then I think in the afternoon, and somehow it was very nice, like snacks, you know. But by the time I came to evening, I had some green tea, something quite strong tea, and it all came back. So,
Of course, your stomach.
Oh,
You're gonna have a very serious stomach.
Wow, what a way to clean your stomach out. Gosh, I wouldn't say it's the best idea, but I tell you what, wow. I don't think I've ever run so fast in the bathroom. It's like, oh, what is going on? Anyway, but it's good to know. Unfortunately, it's the hard way of learning. However, Yes, if you do meet any foreigners, please tell them, okay, you can't eat 8 zongzas in one day. You just don't do that, right? So,
Nobody will eat that much.
sorry, I got a taste for them. They're very nice. But anyway, oh. And they were the ones hung outside the house as well. They were down in Jai. They were hanging them outside. I don't know how long they've been there, but oh, yes, my stomach, I usually am quite proud of my stomach being very strong. Oh, my first thing I ate in Taiwan was a binlang. I didn't know what it was. So that was a good start as well. It was Chinese New Year. First thing, I was hungry. It was no one around. To follow these people to the temple, and these old men were eating these big binlang. Oh, I could say, hun that's right. I knew that word. Hun yeah, hun Oh, very good. Taste, cinnamon taste. I thought that's a strange taste. Anyway, I ate it thinking it must be good. Next thing you see, this guy spitting it out, thinking, oh. They gave it to me. I said, no, it's here. Oh, strong guy. So anyway, no sleep for 2 nights. So there we go. Do things the wrong way. I should write a book. Anyway, another time. All right, guys. Okay. Well, anyway, have a great evening. Like I say, Stephanie's up next. So enjoy your class with her if you like. Okay. Take care, Isha. All the best, Chloe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.